to another Tax Deed Tuesday. Oh, I'm so excited to be with you all. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. As you can always tell, who am I? I am the Jackie Jackson. I'm a full-time real estate investor and certified tax deed genius coming to you to teach you how to invest and how to be successful as a tax lien and tax deed investor. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you sure you're ready? Now, many of you have watched the videos, my videos, or maybe somebody else's videos. Maybe you're out there just kind of like consuming content, reading books, joining groups, all of those things, which is fine, but I want to preface that by sharing with you that you want to take everything that you watch with a grain of salt, including me. So here's what I mean. Most people only share like the good stuff, right? Oh, I invested $1,000 and I made $50 million, whatever that looks like. Today, my video is not going to be anything about that. My video is going to be about horror stories, the things that actually can go wrong with investing in this strategy, which is investing in tax liens and tax deed. All right. So today's Tax Deed Tuesday is all about stuff that just happens. So what do you do? What do you do when you have like unforeseen stuff going on? Now, most real estate investors, including myself, one of the biggest things that we are always going to be mindful of is our level of risk. Okay. So we understand that we are more successful. We make our money when we buy. And a lot of people don't get that. They're like, oh, Jackie, but how do you actually make money when you buy versus when you sell? Because when you sell, a lot of times is when you manifest actually material money, when you actually earn money. But the truth is, how you purchase your property, your acquisition strategy is going to determine your success down the road. Okay. It's going to determine your success on if you're even eligible to cash out in the first place. All right. So we're going to talk about stuff that actually could go wrong. So today's Tax Deed Tuesday is 3 things that you could consider maybe a horror story, but maybe not. I don't know, because they can all be addressed and mitigated through a risk strategy. So we'll talk about all of them right now. All right. So all of these things that I'm going to talk about actually happened. All right. So here we go. Number 1. A lot of investors or new investors, seasoned investors that do not do their homework prior to participating in a tax lien or tax deed auction, sometimes they will have a challenge in obtaining clear and marketable title for the property when they get possession of the property. Now, if you've never heard of what the term clear title or marketable title, what that really means is being able to clear any type of liens or encumbrances or any type of interest in that property from the beginning, from that property's like history. All right. So from its like inception, like, from when it like existed, So you see, I got even excited. I'm pushing the table. So you can be an owner of a property and not have clear title. All right. So you can have liens on your property. You can have claims on your property. You can have all this stuff going on. So what that means is like when you go to sell it or transfer your ownership interest, those encumbrances, those liens still exist, right? So that means that you would be unsuccessful in being able to provide your buyer with title insurance, right? So title insurance protects the buyer, whoever's going to buy that property, from any claims in the past. Like somebody's like, hey, Jackie, that's my cousin's auntie sister twice removed property, and they willed it to me 20 years ago. And now I have this piece of paper that's a will that says that I'm supposed to be the rightful owner. So title insurance protects the buyer against any of those types of claims. So when you are the successful tax deed bidder at an auction, you only get the ownership rights to that property, but you do not get clear title. So there is a process in place that can help you obtain clear and marketable title. All right. So that process includes conducting a quiet title suit. The second would be to obtain a title certificate. There's companies that will do that for you. The third would be actually communicating with the property owner prior to the auction, right? So you have a pre-negotiation to avoid that property from going to the auction, negotiate with them and have them sell it to you and have them provide you with a warranty deed. Now that also is not going to break the chain of title and will position you to have a high probability of being able to obtain marketable title. And then last but not least, the fourth one is to kind of do nothing. And then you're like, Jackie, what do you mean do nothing? You just told me that there's this whole bunch of risk. All right, hear me out. So if your intent is to keep the property and you want to like rent it out or something like that, or you want to add it to your portfolio and hold on to it, we call that a buy and hold strategy. All right, one of the ways that you can ultimately obtain clear and marketable title is to actually just kind of do nothing over a 4-year period of time. If there has not been any claims against the property while you have owned it after you have been the successful tax deed owner, more than likely when you are selling it after 48 months or more, right, a title company or a real estate attorney, whatever you use for your closing agent, is going to be able to give you title insurance because so much time has already passed. So, hey, that means probably no one's interested in your property. So there isn't any additional claims, right? So clear and marketable title is definitely something that can cause you a horror story when it comes on to this strategy. All right, number 2. What if someone is actually living there? You purchase a property at the tax deed auction and then come to find out that there may be a squatter, somebody who's just kind of taken up permanent residence in there. There may be a tenant, somebody who was like renting from the previous owner, and the previous owner did them a disservice by not informing them that the property was going to be auctioned. Or, oh my goodness, this one's a kicker. The owner actually still lives there, right? The previous owner that owned that property before you bought it at the auction still resides there. Like, what do you do? I get that question all the time. People ask me that all the time, especially, when I'm out and about and they're like, Jackie, like, what does this mean? Like, what if I purchase the property and like somebody's in it? All right. So in every state, there is a paragraph within the state statutes when it comes on to tax collection, especially tax deed states and tax lien states as well. It's all there, right? So that's why I encourage everyone to go and read the law. So now you know what your rights are as the new tax deed owner. So for example, I'm going to give you an example. In the state of Florida, beautiful sunshine state, right, where all the oranges grow. In the state of Florida, tax deed owners has the right to immediate possession, regardless if anybody is there. All right. It's written in our law that we have the right to immediate possession. So what this technically means is that you can successfully win your auction today, walk up to your front door, because now it's your front door. Walk up to your front door or whatever your land is and notify that person, like, hey, you on my land. That's all it is. Like, you're on my land, and I'm going to give you a notification. I'm going to give you a 3-day, 5-day notification that you need to vacate my land. Now, if they choose not to vacate their land or ignore your notice, then what you also need to do is just go back to your clerk of course, to your courthouse, and there's a process in place for that where you can obtain a writ of possession, all right? And what that means is now you come back with like reinforcement. You come back with the sheriff, and the sheriff does their job because they're the ones that's packing, you know what I mean? So the sheriff comes out and they're the one that's going to be like, hey, you're on this person's property, you need to get off ASAP. All right, and there's no emotion on it, nothing like that. Now, with that said, I just want to preface it by saying we are in a human business. All right, you're human, I'm human, they're human, people are human. So what we do is we handle situations based on a human basis, right? Nobody should be out on the street. Nobody should be homeless. That's not how this works, right? Our real estate business, we handle our business with ethics, with morals, with a human compass, and making sure that we just do things the right way. So personally, I have purchased properties with people living in it, right? So here's what I have done. These are the things that I have done for those individuals, right? All right, number 1, I always have a list of available charities. All right. So I have a list of available charities in the area where anyone can go and obtain emergency assistance in the event that they need it. So this probably will be a situation that they qualify for. So now they can go to those, they can check out those charities. I don't check it out for them. Like, I don't go and call nobody and be like, hey, so-and-so needs some place. I don't do that, but I do give them the list. So I'm like, hey, this is what you probably need to do. Do you have a family member? Do you have a friend? Here are this list of charities that offer these services so you can actually move out. All right, so I just give them that opportunity to do that for themselves. The second thing that I'll also do is I'll consider, not always, but I'll consider cash for keys. So cash for keys, what does that really mean? Well, instead of, having all this hardship, because most times people are, challenged with coming up the money to move, right? They just weren't thinking about it. They didn't plan for it. So, short on cash. A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, right? So cash for keys really is helping them move out by providing them with the funds to move out. So what I have done in the past is like, okay, you need a U-Haul truck. All right, fine, fair enough. I'll give you the $100, or I'll go rent the U-Haul truck for $100. Get you like some handyman or somebody like some assistance or something like that for another $100 to help you move and pack all your stuff in a U-Haul truck and take it to your auntie's house. That's fine, but you got to go. That doesn't change, right? So let's be clear. That's not going to change the fact that you need to vacate my land. All right. So cash for keys or charities, Catholic charities comes to mind. There's all kinds of different ways about how we can do that. Now, another opportunity, some people may ask, well, Jackie, do you have them sign a lease and, come to some kind of agreement or something like that to have them stay and then they start paying you? Of course, that's very well possible. I personally don't do that because if they are having challenges paying before, that habitual way of being of not paying their bills on time is probably going to continue with you and your relationship with them. Okay. So I don't rent to people who were not paying their bills before. I'm just saying, that's just kind of how that works. It's logic to me. So I have them move out. And then if I am going to rent it, I get brand new tenants that I screen, and that's that. All right. So that's how that works for me. So that's kind of like the second type of horror story that could probably happen. And most people panic when someone is like in their property that they didn't expect to be there. But remember, there's a process in place. So don't panic. You handle it professionally, and you also remember that they're human and you're human, and that you're going to just go through the proper chains of that process and make sure that they move out successfully out of your property so you can gain access. All right. But the truthfully, in the state of Florida, all we need to do is just change the locks. Like, I really don't have to give anybody any time, which is pretty cool. All right. So the other risk, the neighborhood, right? The neighborhood and the neighbors, you be like, dang, I got this property. You done drove out there and like, you look to the left, you look to the right, and you're like, oh my gosh, both of those houses have like trash on the lawn. It looks terrible, right? And you're like, oh my God, this is going to bring down my property value. At least it's going to bring down like the appeal, the marketability of your property, right? When you're trying to flip it and sell it to somebody else. So the neighborhood and your neighbors, all right? This is something that you need to do in advance of purchasing the property. All right. So that right there is going to mitigate your risk and lower your horror story, the probability of you having a horror story by having neighbors that are unfavorable to your exit strategy. All right. So what do I mean by that? I never buy a property like sight unseen. Somebody's going to see. It doesn't technically have to be my eyes, but somebody is going to see that property. Right. So I have actually bought properties that I've never been to physically, but I've seen it enough in order for me to do. So when you're doing like a virtual type of transaction, what you need is like boots on the ground, right? So that's kind of, you've heard that already, boots on the ground. You need a team. So people ask me all the time, well, Jackie, how do you buy properties like out of state? How do you buy properties out of area and out of your county and like, 5, 6, 10, 15 hours away, or even 1,500 miles away, like whatever that looks like. And I'm like, it's simple. You get somebody to go to the property and take a picture for you. Like literally, it's really that simple. And, people tend to like, especially new investors, like they have a challenge like wrapping their mind around that. Like, okay, I'm like, all right, it's really this simple. Go to your online classifieds, post a job that says you want to hire someone that has a car or a bicycle. I don't care what kind of vehicle they got, but they have some kind of reliable transportation. They got a smartphone, a mobile device that takes pictures and has internet capabilities. They either have a digital camera and they got internet where they can upload the pictures that they took. I mean, it's really that simple. And just have that person go out there and take pictures, right? Too easy. Now, I don't know what makes that so complicated, but people tend to just be like, I don't know if that's like, I could do that. I'm like, all right, suit yourself. But what's going to happen is that you're going to shrink down your opportunity, right? There are 3,141 counties across the United States, and they all collect taxes. I promise you they do. Yes, they do. And they're not going to stop doing that, no matter what's happening in this world. You hear me? Mm-hmm. So let's recap. recap right now. All right. So our horror stories, clear and marketable title. Make sure you do your research prior to going to the auction so that you can reduce your risk and make sure that you can actually get clear marketable title. What if somebody is living there? All right, go ahead and read your state statutes and understand what your rights are as a owner, a new owner of this property via a tax deed, and determine when you can have access to the property and what is the process in place if somebody's actually possessing, meaning living on your land. All right. And then third, check out the neighborhood, check out the neighbors, do all of that in advance of being, of going to the auction. That way you have lowered your risk of actually experiencing a horror story. Fair enough? All right. So that is our Tax Deed Tuesday for this Tuesday. And I'm just so excited that you guys stick with me. All right. You guys stay with me week to week, and it's so amazing. I love all of your comments. I love all of your shares. I love all of your likes and follows. So hit me up at the Jackie Jackson, and I look forward to sharing with you guys next week. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.